Oh boy.
Welcome to the Elbow Show. I'm your host Olaf, and today I'm going to talk about the keto diet. I have done a keto diet now for over 2 months, kept to it quite strictly, and I have my own experience in it. But for the people who don't know what the keto diet is, I follow a combination of paleo diet and a keto diet. That means that I don't eat carbs and I mainly eat natural products as far as things these days are natural. So that means I eat mainly meat, mainly fruits, mainly vegetables, mainly nuts. Yeah, I do eat some cheese, what is not a natural product. So I'm quite flexible with it, but I am keeping myself strictly to keto. Now, what is it? So, what does it do? Instead of having glucose in your body and using it in your brain as well, your body changes to keto bodies, and it does it because you don't have the blood sugar to create glucose. And what happens then is that your body shifts to burning fat instead of carbs, and this produces keto bodies, and it starts using that instead of the glucose. That's a normal, process in your body. Probably been using it for thousands of years by people in different places in the world, and in times of hunger. And a lot of people start using it to lose body fat or weight loss. I use it for body fat loss, and yeah, it's a different way of eating. It's eating a lot of salads. It's eating a lot of meat separately, and I mainly eat chicken because I don't want to eat too much meat that's bad for the environment. So for me it became a quite a it's become a quite a selected diet, but it's good. I like eating chicken, so I don't really mind. So what my experience is on it is that it's quite good actually, and mainly because I don't feel hungry a lot, not as intense as before. And if I'm hungry, I really am hungry, and I don't just feel like eating food. There's a huge difference between the two of them, I've noticed, and especially when I started doing the keto diet, this started occurring. Before that, I don't know, like I had hunger sometimes, but I confused hunger with just feeling like eating food a lot by being bored or something. And now I don't really have that. So whenever I'm bored, I'm not really thinking about eating. It's not really an option as much as before, only when I'm really, really hungry. And I feel hunger more in my stomach than in my brain. I have had a couple of days that I ate a little bit of like chocolate or sugar, especially also to try out what it kind of did with myself. What I experienced a lot of times is that, first of all, my stomach, especially, I mean, when it comes to fruits and eating a little bit more carbs or sugar with that, it is all right. But whenever it comes to things like lasagna, what has a lot of carbs, produced carbs, and chocolate, my stomach didn't really handle it as well as it used to. So that was a very interesting development. And next to that, it was that whenever I was eating it, it was just not as satisfying. Like in my thought, I was like, oh, I really look forward to eating chocolate. And once I ate chocolate, I was like, heh, is this it? Kind of. It felt good, it gave a rush. And but then after that, my brain wanted more. Like it was super addicting, and I noticed it a lot more than ever before how addicting it was to eat carbs, even like lasagna or anything. It's like once I ate it, it's like, oh, I want more and more. Even when I was full, it's ridiculous. It was really, really weird experience for myself to really start doing that and experiencing that in a very physical manner, especially in my brain. And it's one of the really, really nice things about the keto diet is that I don't have really a lot of dips during the day anymore. If I have a workflow, I keep my workflow, and once I'm out of my workflow, I might get tired because I will be working all day long. But there's no point in the day that I get hungry or feel like food and it distracts me from my work, or that I have to take a lot of breaks to eat, because generally speaking, I started eating bigger meals and eating less in general because you're just not that hungry. I don't really, I kind of automatically started doing that because it's just like just having one really big meal was like, really nice, or like maybe two meals a day. But I don't really need it more than that, for myself at least. And that was very interesting to notice because then it kind of opened up the time and had more time to focus. And generally speaking, I did just more things during the day. I feel, I'm not so sure I would say I feel better, but I feel more consistent. So when I feel good, I feel more consistently good. And generally speaking, I feel good a lot. So maybe I do feel, generally speaking, better. I'm more comfortable. Comfortable is the right word. I'm more comfortable in just my everyday life than before, and more relaxed, I would say. What is an interesting thing to notice when it comes to this, that I'm more relaxed and confident in my everyday day life, I feel like. And that's a weird thing. I haven't really found out how it is. Maybe it's just because I'm doing a diet and it's a side effect of it, of my own, beliefs or something, that I'm doing the right thing or whatever. But it feels really good. I'm very happy that I've started doing this. And that brings to the next question: is it healthy? Now, from what I've read and heard and seen, that there's a kind of like a controversy to that. To a certain extent, doing it for at least a couple of months is definitely fine. As far as I have seen, nobody's saying that in a couple of months it will harm you or whatever. However, I have seen articles, people say on the internet that if you do it for a very long time, it could harm you, and especially in your brain. But I haven't seen personally the evidence now to support that. Now, again, I haven't also been looking for it. I will do that probably when it comes to it. When I've been doing it for like 6 months or something, then I will definitely start looking into it, because I do think it's important to check it. So doing it for a short term, it's especially like 6 months, 8 months, probably just fine. Especially if you just, I wouldn't recommend, not eating any carbs during that period of time, or only low carb. Like the way I believe is very healthy to do is just keep to your diet whenever you cook, whenever you're at home, whenever, you have choice. But whenever you start eating with friends or whatever, at least if you don't eat too much with friends like I do, I went to my parents the other day, I'm not going to ask them, to cook a whole other meal or bring my own food or whatever, because it's just one day and it's fine. You're not going to die from it or whatever. And it's kind of healthy to just switch it up a little bit. I think if you do that, then it shouldn't have any harm. If you eat, one day a week, you do eat some more carbs than normally, or, once every 2 weeks, it doesn't really harm you to do that. It's quite natural for a human being to kind of change their diet so now and then, because, when we were hunter and gatherers, it just changed whatever we found or whatever we could get. So, some days you had that. So I think it's healthy to do it, especially if you do it in this way. Now, again, what do I eat? Yeah, mainly salads. A lot of salads with chicken in it, with nuts in it, with a lot of blueberries. I really like blueberries. I think they're the shit. Like, really, blueberries are awesome. Low sugar, they're sweet, they're nice. I really fucking dig blueberries, especially in combination with nuts like walnuts and whatever. That's really, really fucking nice. I do put some dressing over the salad. What this contain? I feel like some sugar and maybe a little bit more than I would like to think of. That just makes it a whole bunch of better in general. Now, when it comes to sport, I have experienced that when it's come to low intensity sport, I can keep going on for way longer, like going for a walk, going for like a low intensity run. I can really, really go on for a really long time. Whenever it comes to high intensity sprinting or whatever, I get exhausted real fast. I feel like it's faster than before. I'm not completely sure about it, but that's really the way that I experience it. Kind of makes sense to a certain extent, I would say, because you're not used to, burning fats. You burn carbs in those situations, especially if you eat kind of beforehand or a couple of times a day. So maybe that's the reason. I'm not so sure, but I did experience less of nice energetic feeling while doing high intensity sporting. And one of the things to know that I haven't talked about yet is that there are, whenever you change from the diet to let's say you eat some carbs, more than carbs, and usually you get out of ketosis. What is the state of you are in when you follow a keto diet quite strictly? That after you stop eating the carbs again and you go back into ketosis, you kind of can get a little bit sick. You kind of get a little bit diarrhea or something. Not that much. It's like for like an hour or maybe two, like your body kind of switches systems. Well, it was a really weird experience. Like, I personally found that was a really weird experience myself, especially at the start. I really had to get used to that. Yeah, it was really, really, really difficult. Not really difficult, but it was really weird. It's just like you can physically notice that your body is like changing. You can get a little bit dizzy or something, and that was just really weird. So that's something that you should kind of, in my opinion, take into consideration when you start doing this. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something about this, and maybe you're going to try doing it yourself. I would definitely recommend it, just trying it. I think that trying things is really great. So just try it out, look some information up, and I will see you guys next time.